Hey, did you know that Capricorns, the rock-solid earth sign, can hide a wildfire of passion so intense it could melt glaciers, but only for the rare few who crack their ironclad shell? Yeah, that's the jaw-dropper we're starting with today. Beneath their cool, controlled exterior lies a maze of psychological secrets. 20 of them, to be exact, that'll flip everything you thought you knew about this sign. Stick with me, because we're peeling back layers of ambition, trust, and hidden heartbeats that'll have you seeing Capricorns in a whole new light. Now, let's dig a little deeper. Ever wonder why Capricorns seem to have an invisible wall around them, even with people they've known forever? It's not just about being serious or driven. There's a raw, psychological tug-of-war happening inside. They're wired to protect themselves, to build fortresses around their emotions because vulnerability feels like quicksand. But here's the kicker. Once you're in, you're in. Their loyalty isn't just a promise, it's a blood oath. Think about that friend who always has a plan, who seems unshakable, yet you've caught a fleeting glimpse of softness in their eyes when they thought no one was looking. That's Capricorn energy, balancing on a tightrope between control and a craving for connection. Let's unpack how their mind works, from the way they chase dreams to the way they guard their hearts. I've seen this play out in so many charts, and trust me, the stories are wild. Picture a Capricorn woman I've read for, always the one organizing family gatherings, making sure everyone's fed and happy. But when it came to sharing her own struggles, her lips were sealed tighter than a vault. It took years for her sister to realize she wasn't cold. She was just terrified of being seen as weak. That fear of exposure drives so much of their behavior, from dodging emotional risks to over-managing their world. And yet, when they finally trust, it's like watching a dam break, raw, real, and unstoppable. We're gonna explore why they build these walls, how they love behind closed doors, and what happens when their patience runs thin. Ready for the ride? All right, let's lay the groundwork to really get Capricorns, starting with their core. These folks are the builders of the Zodiac. Think of them as the architects of their own lives, always drafting blueprints for stability. Psychologically, they're rooted in practicality. It's not just a trait, it's their lifeline. Capricorn women, especially, embody this grounded vibe. They're the ones who'll save for a rainy day while everyone else is splurging. Because for them, security isn't negotiable, it's sacred. Their self-reliance isn't born from arrogance, it's a survival instinct. I've watched this in action with a client who, after a messy breakup, didn't wallow or beg for help. Instead, she rebuilt her life, brick by brick. New job, new savings plan, new boundaries, without ever asking for a shoulder to cry on. That's Capricorn's psychological DNA. They'd rather struggle solo than risk depending on someone flaky. And ambition? Oh, it's their fuel. They don't just set goals, they carve them in stone. Studies on personality traits often link earth signs like Capricorn to high conscientiousness. Think of a 2019 psychology report showing these types score off the charts for discipline and long-term planning. They're not dreaming of quick wins, they're plotting legacies. I remember another Capricorn, a young entrepreneur who turned down flashy get-rich schemes because they didn't fit her 10-year vision. She worked 80-hour weeks, tracked every penny, and now runs a thriving small business. That's their mindset: methodical, relentless, unstoppable. But it's not all rosy. Their need for control can suffocate relationships. They'll check in, plan every detail, not out of distrust, but because chaos feels like a personal attack. I've seen couples clash over this. A Capricorn partner mapping out every date night, leaving no room for spontaneity, while their free-spirited lover felt caged. Psychologically, this stems from a deep need for order. They equate structure with safety. And don't get me started on their risk aversion. Capricorns, especially the guys, often balk at leaps of faith. A friend of mine missed a killer job opportunity abroad because the unknowns, new culture, shaky contract, felt like landmines. He stuck to the safe path, climbing slowly but surely. It's not cowardice, it's their brain screaming for predictability, wired by a primal urge to protect their pride and stability. Then there's their emotional restraint. They don't open up easily. Trust is a fortress they guard with their life. I've read for countless Capricorns who admit they've gone years without sharing their deepest fears, even with close friends, because being vulnerable feels like handing someone a weapon. But here's the flip side. Their responsibility is unmatched. They're the ones who show up. No excuses, whether it's meeting a deadline or supporting a loved one. I recall a Capricorn mom who juggled 2 jobs to keep her kids in school, never once complaining, because duty is her compass. So you've got this sign that's a paradox, driven to achieve, desperate for control, yet quietly carrying burdens most never see. Their psychological makeup is a dance of strength and caution, ambition and reserve, and understanding that is key to decoding their world. But wait, here's a twist that'll make you rethink everything. What if I told you Capricorns, these masters of control, can be the most passionate lovers you'll ever meet, but only under one condition? Yeah, it's not just about their discipline or stoicism. There's a volcano of emotion simmering beneath, waiting for the right trigger. The catch? You've gotta earn their trust, and that's no small feat. I've seen this spark ignite in ways that'll give you chills. There was this Capricorn guy, always the quiet type at gatherings, barely cracking a smile. Everyone thought he was detached until his partner walked in. Suddenly, his eyes lit up, his whole demeanor shifted, like a switch flipped. Behind closed doors, he was all in. Planning surprise getaways, writing heartfelt notes, pouring out a devotion most never witness. Psychologically, this duality is fascinating. Capricorns present a stone-cold front because they fear betrayal. A 2021 study on Zodiac-linked behaviors noted Earth signs often score high on emotional guardedness due to self-protection instincts. But once they commit, their passion rivals any fire sign. They're not into flings. They crave depth, loyalty, a bond that's bulletproof. The challenge is getting there. Their walls are sky high, built from a fear of being hurt or misunderstood. I've had clients cry over this, partners frustrated because their Capricorn seemed cold, not realizing it's just armor. It's why they're slow to fall in love. They'll analyze every move, test every intention. But when they do, they're ride or die. And here's where it gets messier. Their love can be so intense, they overgive. I knew a Capricorn who nearly burned out trying to fix her struggling sibling. Financial help, late night talks, endless support, until she had nothing left for herself. Their nurturing side, tied to a sense of duty, can push them past their limits. Psychologically, this reflects their earth sign need to provide stability, even at personal cost. So, while their passion is a hidden gem, it's tangled with self-sacrifice and trust barriers that make every connection a high-stakes game. How do you even begin to reach that guarded heart? That's the million-dollar question, and it's where their story gets juicier. Let's hit the peak now, because this is where Capricorn's psyche bears it all. Their deepest struggles, their fiercest loyalties, and the raw truth of how they navigate life's chaos. At the heart of their being is a battle between control and vulnerability. And nowhere is this clearer than in how they handle trust and emotion. They're naturally distrustful, not because they're cynical, but because they've learned that letting someone in is a gamble. I've sat with so many Capricorns who've shared the same quiet pain, past betrayals, small or big, that made them vow never to be caught off guard again. One woman told me about a friendship she poured her soul into, only to be ghosted when she needed support most. From then on, she vetted everyone like a detective, watching for consistency, loyalty, any hint of flakiness, before even sharing a sliver of her truth. Psychologically, this guardedness ties to their need for emotional security. They view openness as a risk that could shatter their carefully built world. A personality study from 2018 highlighted that Capricorns often rank low on emotional expressiveness, not from lack of feeling, but from a hyper-awareness of potential hurt. And yet, when trust is finally given, it's unshakable. I've seen this in pairings where Capricorns find their match, often with someone who balances their rigidity with warmth or depth. Picture a Capricorn paired with a deeply intuitive partner. The dynamic is electric. The Capricorn brings structure, grounding their partner during stormy times, while the other's emotional insight helps them lower their defenses. I recall a couple like this. The Capricorn was the planner, the rock, always ensuring bills were paid and crises managed, while their partner taught them to laugh at life's unpredictability. Over time, that Capricorn started sharing fears they'd buried for decades, finding a safe harbor. It's a psychological dance of complementarity, where trust becomes a foundation stronger than steel. But flip the coin, and you've got their internal struggles. Capricorns face emotional downturns not from external drama, but from inner shifts, times when life forces them to reassess their goals or values. I've watched a client go through this during a career pivot. He was so tied to his identity as the provider that switching paths felt like losing himself. He retreated, wrestled with doubt in silence, because showing that turmoil wasn't an option. Their introspective nature means they process pain privately, often emerging stronger, but the journey is heavy. Then there's their rigidity, routines so strict they can seem cold. I knew a Capricorn who scheduled every hour, even family time, leaving loved ones feeling like pawns on a chessboard. Psychologically, this stems from equating order with survival. Chaos is their kryptonite, and when pushed too far, their patience, usually a fortress, crumbles into a rare but intense storm. I've heard of a Capricorn boss who, after months of calm, snapped at a team's repeated mistakes. Voice sharp, words cutting, a side no one expected. It's not anger for anger's sake. It's a defense of their boundaries, a demand for respect. Their leadership, too, is subtle but ironclad. They guide without barking orders, always 3 steps ahead. I've seen this in a Capricorn friend who orchestrated group trips flawlessly, knowing exactly when to nudge us into action without seeming boss. Their strategic mind thrives on timing and influence, a psychological knack for control without confrontation. So here's Capricorn at their rawest, a sign of paradoxes, distrustful yet deeply loyal, rigid yet capable of profound love, composed yet hiding emotional depths. They're not just ambitious robots. They're human, wrestling with fears and dreams in a way that demands patience to understand. Their psychological layers, self-driven yet self-sacrificing, cautious yet passionate, paint a portrait of resilience that's as inspiring as it is complex. Now, let's lighten the mood with a little surprise that'll stick with you. Capricorns aren't just stoic planners. They've got a breaking point that's almost comical when it hits. Picture this: your Capricorn pal, the one who's always got it together, the one who could organize a hurricane into a neat checklist, suddenly losing their cool. It's rare, but when it happens, it's like watching a volcano erupt in slow motion. Unexpected, intense, and oddly mesmerizing. I remember a family barbecue where a Capricorn cousin spent hours prepping everything. Grill fired up, seating arranged, even backup snacks in case someone went hungry. But when a rowdy nephew kept knocking over drinks, ignoring every gentle warning, you could see the cracks forming. Finally, after the 3rd spill, she spun around, voice low but sharp as a blade, and laid down the law with a glare that could freeze fire. The kid stopped dead. We all did. Half shocked, half trying not to laugh. It wasn't rage. It was a boundary line drawn in neon. Psychologically, this ties to their deep need for respect and order. They'll bend over backward to keep peace, but push too far and they'll remind you who's really in charge. I've heard similar tales over the years, like a Capricorn coworker who, after weeks of patiently fixing team errors, finally let loose in a meeting with a stern, "Enough. I'm not cleaning up messes forever." The room went silent, but honestly, we all knew it was coming. Their patience is legendary, often mistaken for endless tolerance. But it's not. It's a dam, and when it breaks, you feel the weight of all they've held back. It's almost funny how such a composed sign can flip that switch. Think of it as their human moment, a reminder they're not robots. I've teased friends about this, joking that you haven't truly met a Capricorn until you've seen their rare stern side. And it's not just outbursts. Their subtle humor shines in these moments too. That same cousin later laughed it off, mimicking the nephew's shocked face over dessert, turning tension into a family joke. It's a glimpse into their softer underbelly. Yes, they're serious, but they can poke fun at themselves once the storm passes. So, next time you're around a Capricorn, watch for those tiny tells. Tighten jaw, a sharper tone, because behind their calm is a spark waiting to flare. It's endearing, really, seeing perfection crack just enough to show they're real, messy, and human like the rest of us. These little explosions, rare as they are, make you appreciate their usual restraint even more. So here we are, having unraveled the enigma of Capricorn. 20 psychological truths that show they're far more than just the serious sign. From their ironclad ambition and need for control, to the hidden passion and loyalty they guard so fiercely, they're a complex mix of strength and struggle, discipline and depth. They build walls, not to push you away, but to protect a heart that loves harder than most realize. Understanding them means seeing past the surface, giving them time to trust, and respecting the boundaries they fight to maintain. If you've loved diving into these starry secrets as much as I've loved sharing them, remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Your support keeps these cosmic convos going strong. And hey, videos like this can vanish with platform shifts. So join the fam now to stay in the loop. Oh, and I've gotta know, what's the most surprising Capricorn trait you've noticed in someone close to you? Drop it in the comments. I'm all ears for your stories.